It's game week in the Premier League. It's Tottenham Hotspur versus Crystal Palace at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Do Spurs have Europe to play for, or is it now just counting down to the end of the final season? Welcome to the preview show. Good evening, and I hope everyone's having a good bank holiday weekend. Welcome to the preview show. As I've stated at the beginning, Tottenham Hotspur versus Crystal Palace at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Joining me to do the preview, as always, is the one, the only, Mr. Sam _Spurs for life. Good evening, Sam. How has your week been?
Busy, but yeah, it's all right. You know what I mean? I am just enjoying life. I'm going to sort my camera out in the background. Sorry about that, people, but you know what I mean. Let me do that whilst here. I'll keep talking. I'll be in the background. Sorry. Yeah, it's been an eventful week. It's been less Tottenham, just getting on with life, I guess. You know what I mean? We've got to try and do these things sometimes without getting ourselves all embroiled in the old Tottenham circus, which it seems to be. They put out these news conferences, press clips, and all the rest of it. And like I think we've done before, Sid, until such time as they do any shirts, whatever, we do not have a manager. So yeah, we got nothing to play for, just to see what happens.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. It's just now formality, as we will see the table further down the line. But yeah, 4-3 against Liverpool last week. Some said it was a good performance. Some said it was woeful first half, comeback second half. Should have won it, didn't win it. Potential red card, potential penalty. But at the end of the day, no one ever looks at all the stats. All they look at is the scoreline, and we lost 4-3. Man United winning, Brighton winning. It's looking very bleak for Spurs at the moment to get anywhere near top four. Forget the top 4, 5 and 6. I mean, I think worst case scenario, I think Conference League looks like it's going to happen again. Maybe not. But again, that depends on
what does Conference League go down to? 7th, 8th? I think it also depends on who wins the Champions League, FA Cup, because Man United and Man City are both in that as well. Yeah. I don't know. It gets complicated, doesn't it? So I don't really care.
Exactly. And West Ham, if they win the Conference Cup, they go straight into the Europa. So, but you know what? There's other teams already battling. There's Brentford battling. There's Aston Villa battling. There's Brighton are battling as well. So let's see what happens. Anyway, let's get into the business side of the show. So, as you can see, it is Crystal Palace versus Tottenham Hotspur. And I don't know what's happened here. Oh, look, malfunction. Give me 1 second. Don't you love it? You love it. What happened there?
Live TV, everybody. Anyway,
absolutely live TV. This is what we love
in the background. For those, make sure you comment. Put the comments in the comment section below if you want to have a chat with us. We'll also look to get you on reaction. So we did that. We had, who did we have last time? It was a really good show. We had Josh, I think it was, who came on.
We had Josh, yeah,
Josh really good chat. So if you guys, we'll put the StreamYard link in for reaction shows, even for preview shows as well. Well, not for preview shows because we want to keep these short. So reaction shows, we'll do that. But yeah, tomorrow's game, mate.
Tomorrow's game.
Here's the title.
We're gonna look at that at the end, right? So going into tomorrow's game, Tottenham Hotspur are 7th, Crystal Palace are 11th. We've won 16, they've won 10. We've drawn 6, they've drawn 10. We've lost 12, they've lost 14. Average goals per match is 185 to us, 103 to them. They've had struggles all season scoring goals with or without Zaha. Goals conceded per match. Do you know what? It's not that far difference. 1.68 to 1.32. Clean sheets 9 to 8. Chances created 1.62 to 1.03. I know we talk about this, Sam, week in, week out, and we're always talking on and on and on. But again, I'm going to ask you again, does any of these matter? Is there anything that's pulled out to you that you want to talk about?
Not really. And the reason I'm saying that, Sid, is because obviously we're now at the back end of the season, 33, 34 games in, 35 potentially after tomorrow. And the stats now obviously reflect what the season in. But you now come to the business part of the season. So teams are either in the top half playing for something, that's either Europe or whatever. Teams are in the bottom half fighting for relegation, blah, blah, blah. Or teams are in the middle on the beach. So it depends on who you're playing. Because they've now got Boy Hudson, Crystal Palace, probably safe now. They've done enough to get themselves into a good position. But he's a twicky manager. He's twicky with his voice. He's twicky when he does that. So he's going to set up his team because he's excellent, the manager. He's been coaching for a very long time. So them stats might not reflect how the team is playing now. That's what I'm trying to say. So whereas they might have had an average of 1.32 goals conceded, they might have only scored 1 goal a game. They've done well in the last few games that they've played. So those stats might be different. They might be a harder team to play. Look at Bournemouth. Look at Bournemouth, what they've done.
I know. Amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing. It's amazing when a team pulls together. All right, O'Neill's not, world-class manager or whatever, but he's just got something in there. He's just got them going, and every single one of them seems to be pulling. Whereas with us lot, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's turmoil from the top all the way down to the bottom. We'll discuss other things as well, but I'm like you now. I'm just looking at these and I'm like, does it even matter? It doesn't really matter, are they? You know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Average goals conceded for us 1.68, but yet we've shipped bloody 5s and 4s recently. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
6s. So it doesn't really matter. We know our defense is shocking. We might get lucky that they might turn up. We might have a bit of harmony. All we can hope for, Sid, is that, as a home team, the fans stay with the players tomorrow, and we at least try and get them to play and get a victory, because they've got nothing to play for, in my opinion.
Yeah. And talking about goals conceded, right? This, you know what? We've conceded 57 goals this season, right? Which includes 15 in the last 4 games. And we hadn't conceded 15 in X amount of games prior to that. And then all of a sudden in 4 games, we've conceded 15, which is the most in a single campaign since we let in 61 in 2007, 2008. And I'm going to ask you this question, Sam. Are we going to actually end up breaking that record and concede more than 61 goals this season? I think we are.
How many won now? 57?
57.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Because I don't see us keeping clean sheets. Our defense is the weakest part of our team.
Yeah.
There has been as much turmoil in one season as we could ever hope for in any team. You have to look. There's been a lot of ups and downs in the league anyway, because of circumstances, and people want to stay in the league, and that's why they get rid of managers. We've seen what's happened to Liverpool and Chelsea, blah, 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 blah. But for us, we've conceded so many goals, and we have such a fragile mentality that I don't know if they score tomorrow, and I think they will, Palace, whether the floodgates are open and players don't care, or they'll knuckle down and try and rectify it. So again, I think we will concede 4 goals by the end of this season, mate. We've got 4 games left, I think.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with you on that one. Right, so head to head, 27 times Spurs and Palace have locked horns, 16 wins to Tottenham, 4 wins to Crystal Palace. We've won 8 at home. They've only won 1 away from home. They've won 3 at home, and we've won 8 at their place. So we've won 8 at home and 8 away against them. They've only won 1 away against us. And I know it sounds bleak. I'm going to sound bleak now, Sam, but week in, week out this season, we've said this, where we've looked at this and we've laughed and we've said, yeah, no problem. They've not done that. They've not won at our place. They've not done this. We've not. And what's happened? Other team have come and either beaten us or, done whatever. I mean, Manchester United, for example, all season against the top 8, they've not won once. Yeah, they come to Spurs and they draw. So, I think this Palace team tomorrow is going to be an absolute different team, because under Hodgson, they seems to be doing a little bit more now. They're giving more to the manager than they did in the Vieira. I don't know why, but they all seem to have woken up and they all seem to be playing for their futures, playing for the, and the fans are spurring them on. So this one away win at Tottenham Hotspur, does that mean anything tomorrow?
Well, I think you've shown the graphic when we had the stats on there. I think they're 11th in the table, are they? Crystal Palace, 11th?
Yeah. We'll look at that.
Yeah, they should be on the beach now. They shouldn't necessarily have to go out to prove anything. I think there's plenty of teams below them that's going to get involved in the relegation battle. They are effectively safe. So they're going to be coming out for what reason? For a bit of fun? Is he going to play players to see what they're like? Roy Hodgson, is he going to be going past this season? No, he's not. So he's got nothing to prove. I don't think a lot of the players have got anything to prove because they're not playing for this manager. No, they're playing for him, but they're not playing for him for next season, if that makes sense. And they're away from home. It might just be a bit of a practice match for their perspective, but it's probably going to be a practice match from our perspective as well, because we're in exactly the same position. We've got a manager who's not going to be the manager for the beginning of next season. We've got a manager that the players do respect because he's been at the club, but do they really care? We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. And the thing is, Palace as well, since they've sacked Vieira, they've won 4 of the last 6 games under Roy Hodgson. As many as they won in the first 20 matches before that, right? And 13 of the 35 goals they've scored this season have come since Hodgson's taken over. So although a new manager, although they, like you said, they'll probably be looking at their holiday in the summer, I still think some of these players are playing for pride. I think some of them are playing for their contracts. And with, regardless of whether Hodgson's going to be staying there or not, I think they still don't want to end the season on a low. I think they'll want to continue that. And I think for them, Tottenham would be a big scalp tomorrow because they know how fragile we are at the moment. And if they come to us tomorrow, I think they'll be on a high because they know, that if we score 1 in the first 10, 15 minutes, we've just got to see it out.
I agree. I do agree with what you're saying. But the reason I say it, because if it was at Crystal Palace, much more difficult game.
Yeah.
Much more difficult game. We have got 60,000 fans. It might not be 60,000 tomorrow, but they're coming away from home. Like you were saying, I'm just looking at some of their stats here in terms of the games that they've had. So Palace, in the last 5 games, they've got 3 wins in there. They're safe. They're effectively safe. I can't see why they would bust a gut because, again, players at this type of the season, they don't necessarily do that unless they've got something to play for. So I think it's going to be a really tepid, practicey type game. Nobody's really going to be really bothered who wins or not because it doesn't bother me tomorrow if we win or not. It doesn't really worry me. And if I'm feeling like that, I think most of the players are probably feeling like that, and the rest of the fan base it's just a nothing game, Sid.
Yeah, the players have been feeling that for how many games now? You know what I mean? It's just excuse after excuse and that. But I agree with you. In terms of previous 4 meetings, 2021, March, Spurs 4, Crystal Palace 1. September 2021, Palace 3, Spurs 0. December 2022, Spurs 3, Palace 0. And then 4th of Jan at Selhurst Park, convincing 4-0 to Spurs. So we've got 3 wins and a defeat in that one. Again, last meetings mean nothing because the personnel are different. The player, the managers, the players, atmospheres, I think, depending on what situation. I mean, March, September, December, January. Exactly. So you're sort of in between peak season, aren't you?
Yeah, those are meaningful games. At that point of the season, January's meaningful, December, definitely meaningful over the Christmas period. September, start of the season, you want to start well. March, you're probably into the season. We're in May now.
Exactly.
Both teams are safe. We shouldn't even be talking of Spurs as being safe. We're just playing now, really. Brighton are above us. Do you know what I mean? Villa, we've got next out. That's the biggest game that we've got. Leeds, potentially at the last game of the season away from them because they might be still fighting and probably will be. But what players are going to turn out tomorrow, Sid? What are they playing for? Because if you're telling me they're playing for Europe, they should have been playing for Europe a long time ago. If they're playing to get in the Conference League, Oh, wow. We could be playing academy players in the Conference League, aren't we? So it doesn't really make any difference if they get through or not. Because most of those players, if they're top level players, won't be playing in it. It's just ridiculous. I'm so baffled by this whole thing now.
Yeah. David, calm down. I know it's not. We're not turning into an American. David is saying here we're turning into an American style stat show where we're deep in the mud. We know that, but we can't just keep saying about we're deep in the mud because we've been like that for
preview show, David.
Exactly. Yes, we are in the mud, but it is what it is. I mean, is it quick mud? But last 5, and quickly, we've lost 3, drawn 1, won 1. They've won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. So it's basically opposite to us, where they've won 3, we've lost 3. They've lost 1, we've lost 3. So you know what? If you want to talk about this, Sam, you can do, but I'm not really bothered because
I'll touch on it a little bit. You can see in there they've played in essence tougher games than us because they've had relegation battles. Leeds relegation battle, Southampton relegation battle, won both those games. Drew against Everton relegation battle. Wolves at that time were probably just about safe. Wolves where Wolves now. Sorry, Wolves are 14th. They're actually below. So again, they're playing teams in and around them. We know what West Ham are. They're in and around that bottom half of the table. So they've had some tough games, and look what they've got out of it. 3 wins because it meant something. They had to put the performances if they wanted to get themselves clear of the relegation battle. We had an opportunity to play for top 4. The one against Brighton was a lucky game. The 3-2 against Bournemouth was a terrible way to lose. The 6-1, say less about that. The 2-2, good comeback in terms of that game. The Liverpool game, brilliant at it, ended 3-3, but it didn't because we had a player on the pitch that gave the ball to them and assisted them in the 96th minute when we scored in the 95th. That's Spurs.
That's Spurs for you. And I want them to just turn up for the whole game, not just for 45 minutes of the second half or because we've not turned up both halves of one game yet this season. We've either turned up majority of the time it's second half. Every now and then we've turned up first half. So I just want them actually to turn up tomorrow and have a full game, which it's not going to happen anyway. But like they say, it is what it is. What we are going to look at, Sam, is if I can have a look, if I can find it. Give me 1 second. The league table. I know it doesn't mean anything, but I think you was touching up on it before, wasn't you? League table is here. I mean, it means nothing, but as you can see tomorrow, it's Newcastle are 3rd on 65, Manchester United on 63, Liverpool 59, Brighton on 55 with 2 games in hand. They're 1 point above us on 54 and Aston Villa on 54. Brighton have played the least games, so I'm not, I'm not bothered. I mean, 7th, it is what it is at the moment. And I think David's put in there that Brentford game. If we lose tomorrow, Brentford can go above us, and then we've got Aston Villa next week, and then Brentford the week after. Potentially,
let's talk about the table. What do you think in terms of who's playing for what to kind of gauge what we as a team should be expecting from our players? Because I look at that and I think, obviously, Man City, Arsenal, they're fighting for the title, so they're going to be up for it. Newcastle, they're really playing to stay in the top 4. They could probably get 3rd if they keep on this run. Manchester United want to be above Liverpool to stay in that top 4. Liverpool want to try and catch Manchester United or stay above Brighton because Brighton is hot on their tails. Aston Villa, they're just playing really well. We have had all the opportunities to play for these things. So why now would these players start to play? It doesn't make any sense. No. This is what I'm saying. So looking at this table, all I can see is if we don't beat Crystal Palace tomorrow, we won't win any more games. And I think you've already said that. This is probably our best opportunity to win a game before the end of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Leeds as well. But like you said, it depends on what Leeds are going to be doing.
Leeds with Sam Allardyce.
I know.
He said he's better than Pep.
I know. Right. So in terms of people might like it or not, I mean, this is team wise. I know Loris is out for the season now. They've said probably his last game he's played for us when they've
He's
got
never
beat
played
by
again.
Newcastle. Sessegnon's out for the season. As far as I'm aware, everyone else is available to play. So I'm going with Forster in goal. I'm going to go with a back three as the same as last week with Romero, Dyer, and Davis. Romero, Højbjerg, Skip, and Perisic. And then Son, Richarlison, and Kane. Do you know what? I don't know what formation he's going to play, but I think he's going to go with this one. Players wise, Richarlison could be for Kulu, Skip, Saw, Højbjerg, Saw. I don't know. Danjuma's available, but we know what Danjuma's available for. He's got his own little plaque on the seat now to say reserved until the 85th minute. So, I mean, this is what I think he's going to go with.
Probably because they seem to trust Dyer at all costs. They seem to trust him. One change I would make is defensively. I would probably take Dyer out if I was manager, and put Long Lane as a sweeper in terms of that centre back, because I think he's got better vision. His pace doesn't really necessarily have to be the main pacey person in that position. I think the two outside ones need to be pacier. I would have Ben Davis as the left centre back. Yeah, Romero, Perisic has been playing better recently. Porro, yeah. But I would have probably a little bit of a different system. I'd probably go for similar to how City have been doing. They have the back three, then they have two in front, then they've got four across the line. So you have your 2 10s closer in, and then you have someone leading the line. You know, you could then play tunes with it, or you could have maybe Kane dropping in and make it a 3-4-1-2. But who knows, mate?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, the thing is, we've said this, isn't it? Is he going to try? Is he going to go with different formations? Is he going to do it? And I said last week against Liverpool, I thought he would have changed it, but he hasn't. Unfortunately, yeah, Royal is not fit, so he's not available. So Poro's got to stick there. Perisic, there's no one else really as a wing back that he can use apart from Danjuma, but he'll stick with Perisic because Perisic is starting to do well with assists. Davis, maybe Langley, I don't know. Dyer's going to start, you know that. I got, do you know what? If I was Ryan Mason now, I'd just mix it up because, like you said, got nothing to win, nothing to lose.
The only thing I would say about Ryan Mason is I think he's probably auditioning for a future manager role, possibly at Spurs in the later times, possibly somewhere else to get the experience. Yeah. So I don't think he wants to damage his reputation anymore if it's been damaged. I think his reputation has probably been intact because, as I said, the last 2 games in terms of comeback, we have done that. So he's able to get them players to play for him at some point, but it seems to be when everything's down, all the chips are down. Because to come back against Man U and then to do it against Liverpool, that's tough, particularly at Anfield. But what I'm saying is, at this moment in time, he can't change to a back 4 because it will just leak goals. We are the leakiest top half team in the league.
And to try and do it against Eze, Olise, and Ayew, you might as well just write your death warrant, because if you're going to do that with them, because I think Olise and Eze are going to have a field day tomorrow, and you know what's going to happen, don't you? Everyone's going to turn around and say,
if they play those, Sid, if they want to come out and play, or are they just going to be, can't be asked.
Listen, Eze is going to be out tomorrow to prove a point, because obviously we were linked with him, weren't we? And we said no. So he'll be out there, and I think Olise and Eze and Jordan Ayew, I think they're going to be. You watch them tomorrow. They're going to be on it. They're going to be on it, and I think they'll be probably thinking, you know what, with Porro and Perisic and Dyer and Davis and Romero doing what Romero does, they could have if it works, they could have a field day. But let's see what happens with this team. Right, let's have a look at some of the comments in our section. We've got Jews in the house. Good evening, Jews. Sam already on the booze. That's Tottenham. It will do it. It will do it for you. We should play a couple of the academy players. I think Alfie Divine, I tell you what's interesting as well, Sam, talking about them, that Mundell. There's 2 teams already. I think Standard Liège and Anderlecht have already offered him a contract. Not only a contract, they've guaranteed him playing time. He said he wants playing time. So he's at the moment he's not signed a contract for Spurs. So for me, this is going to be very interesting now to see whether what Spurs offer him. I think he's gone. I think he's gone.
Yeah. No team or no club should promise players to play. You should have an idea that you should be playing based on who's there, but no team, club should say you're guaranteed, because that can only end badly. Yeah. Spurs could not guarantee him playing, so they can't then say we'll sign you or we'll give you the offer based on the fact that you're going to be guaranteed playing time. That's not going to work. So if he leaves, he leaves. If he wants to play football, good on him, because he probably won't get the opportunities at Spurs in the near future unless we get a project manager in who is going to just play youngsters. And that's not going to happen at Spurs.
That's not going to happen. Kevin Murray, hi, everyone. Great evening. David Clark, hi from Leicester. Spurs are 8th, but if we lose to Brentford, it's 9th. Sorry, lads. Spurs fans still optimistic, even though we have conceded 15 goals in the last 4 games. They really do make me laugh. I don't think Spurs fans are optimistic. I think I've known for ages, and I've said it for ages. I think we've now, come to the, we've now come to the decision where we're just playing game by game. Like we said last season, Sam, take every game as it comes.
It is what it is, Sid. And I think they've drained it out of us. We've got to the point now where at this stage of the season last year, had we just gone above Arsenal, or we played Arsenal and we beat them, and then it was on to, I can't remember what it was. 34 games. It was close to this point, wasn't it? Around about this sort of time. Certainly we passed over. So we had something that we were like, and everybody was like, yay. Not just because we went above Arsenal and got into that 4th place, but because we were actually playing decent football post the Burnley game. Complete opposite now. We're in tatters. We haven't got a clue who's going to be managed. We ain't got a clue what team's going to turn out. We ain't got a clue who's going to be at the club next season. So from that perspective.
Yeah, I think Ian Fleming and Daniel Craig, they're looking to the sequel to Skyfall, Freefall. So they're going to be auditioning at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Juice Nuts, Palace are on a roll, but not sure which Spurs will show up. I think we will eke a win. I don't know. Kevin Murray was talking about, I think, what was on about the goals conceded. 12 goals in 3 games is our Achilles heel. I don't think it's the 12 in 3. I think it's the goals 57 in total is our Achilles heel. We will have a negative goal difference at the end of the season. Laugh my socks off. I was looking at the table. Brighton have got plus 22 and we've got about plus 6, I think, at the moment. So, yeah. So it's, what?
Manchester United are the only other team that are in a false position in terms of their goal difference. Theirs is plus 9.
Yeah.
But what Man United have done is they've been able to kind of get them bad results, but then they seem to be able to get constant results where they don't concede too many goals. They've tried things at the back. They're now playing Luke Shaw and Lindelof. Why don't we do things like that? Try somebody else there instead of fucking Dyer. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying to stay in my Zen moment, and that's what they've done to me. I was in there.
I agree.
Come out.
Yeah, David Clark is saying their pace is going to trouble us. Yep, I've said that. Yep, I agree with you. They've got 4 decent players: Guy, Zaha, Eze, and Eloise. I think Jordan Ayers as well. You got to count him in. They've got a fair few decent players. Our ground is not fortress; it's more like a sandcastle with the tide coming in. So if, like you say, that Palace is on the beach, then we are in trouble.
I like that one, David.
I like that one. Well done, David. Well done, David. I've said all month that I've said for months that we're going to at least lose 14 games. Eddie Ryan is asking, is Royal fit? No, he's not. Juice Nuts saying Langley for Dyer, Saw for Skip, rest Dyer, see what happens. Yeah, we could send him to the King's Coronation tomorrow, couldn't we? Give him a day off and say, go and enjoy the King's Coronation. Eddie Ryan is asking for trouble here. He can use Lucas Moura as a wing back. Dear me, yeah, dear me. Let's have a look. Blue Mountain is in the house. Good evening. Most of the younger players sit on the bench doing nothing. What a waste. We've said this for time, haven't we? We said it under Jose as well. And we said it under Conte. What is the point of bringing in young players into the squad if you're not going to give them any game time? Okay, maybe it's for the experience. But is there a point, Sam, to that?
I don't get the substitutions anyway. We've got a new system where you can have 5 subs. 5 subs we can make in a game. But we've suffered from the point where our managers over the last, well, definitely Conte, doesn't seem to want to play players off the bench. So the youngsters ain't going to get even a look in because he had a settled 11, 12, 13. Now, whether Conte was trying to prove a point with the players and saying that they're not good enough, yeah, that's part of it. But certainly there's games where I'm thinking to myself, we've only made one sub. We haven't made any subs. We've got 5 to... What's going on? Jed Spence was the prime example for us. I don't know, Sid. The answer to your question, I don't know.
I don't think anyone knows, to be fair. So good evening. They have to start with energy for the first 10 minutes. Employ Skip, Emil, and Saw, and drop Kulu. Mr. Dinosaur, where is the energy coming from? Yeah, even a certain drink called Prime can't help them with that and give them any energy. Red Bull, maybe if it gives them wings. Yeah, I don't see any energy. I don't know if you have, Sam, or anybody in the comment section. Have you seen a game this season where we've started with any energy at all? I haven't seen one.
What I will say to that is, yeah, we've seen how that's the pattern. That's the pattern of play. We might have got frustrated with it at the beginning of the season, but that's the pattern. That's how Tottenham seemed to set up. We had a few games where we scored first, blah, blah, blah. We're not really gone out and blitzed anybody in the first 5-10 minutes like how some teams do. But what we have seen in the last 2 games, whether the results have been positive or not, is the fact that these players do seem to want to play when they have gone 2-0 down or even 3-0 down in some cases. So they are doing something positively. The problem is we've got shit defenders. I've always said this, and I've maintained this for months now. We've got 4th or 5th, whatever it is, 4th top scorers in the league. But we've got one of the worst goal differences I've seen from a top half team for a long, long time. And we cannot expect to win games if you can't keep clean sheets, or if you can't keep just one. You know, just get the odd goal conceded, because we can score 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Shipping 5s and 6s. Come on.
I know. What I was going to say was, Kevin Murray, was it under 18s? Yeah, they won yesterday. They won the cup final yesterday. I think they beat Villa 3-1. So our under 18s and the under 16s, I think, have won trophies. Under 21s and the full team are doing absolutely nothing. But again, we'll never see these youngsters. But yeah, fair play to them. Well done to them yesterday for winning it as well. Davy Clark is saying we should drop one of the front 3 and bring in Saw and play with wing backs, push our wing backs up. Let's see. But do you know what? We can come up with all these ideas and that, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Eddie Ryan is saying, haven't we got a Serbian player that plays centre back and left back? Isn't he a full international? Yeah, it's
Pascozzi.
Yeah, Pascozzi. Yeah, but I think he was included in 1 or 2 European games or cup games, but since then we don't know what's happened to him. We don't. I think that's another player that's potentially going to leave the club at some point. But yeah. So that's that. Score prediction.
I'll do the score. I was going to touch on them youngsters thing. The thing is, when you bring youngsters, you don't want to bring them in to a team like this where we're just in turmoil. You want to bring 1 and 2 in when you're playing well, when you've got good professionals around them, good experienced professionals. Apart from Harry Kane and maybe 1 or 2 others, we don't have good professionals for them to actually look up to. And so I don't think it's fair, unless you're going to change the whole team and play the whole team as youngsters, which would be really difficult. I don't think it's fair to bring in 2 or 3 youngsters into this team at the moment. It's just horrible. Score predictions. Sorry.
I think Alfie Devine should be given a go. He's younger. He's doing, there's a lot of rave about him. He can't do any worse than what some of these players are doing. And if you bring him in, you could potentially, switch it up a little bit. Give the kid a game.
Right. So this is my only thing about it. Our club mentality is weak. If you put a player like that, and let's say you put him in and doesn't have the best of games and we lose the game heavily, they have to be a solid mentality monster, as Klopp would call it, to be able to then continue on and say, because they're not going to play much more. And they're going to go back down and they're going to, it's really tough mentally as a footballer. But for a young footballer in a team where we don't have mental strength, I don't see how it works unless they are of that level. And I don't know if we've got that level of player in our academy.
I mean, Juicy's saying exactly like the old Liverpool did in the 80s. They'd bring in one newbie towards the end of games. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying bring him on from the start. I'm saying bring him on just to get the little bit of experience, you know.
Juice, what I would say, those Liverpool people in the 80s were winning shit. They were winning everything. That's the difference. Yeah. Man United, when they did it, they were winning everything. They brought youngsters in. You can't.
Aye, okay. Dinosaur. Conte's system was his holy grail. He even said Yves Bissouma needed time to learn, which was insulting. Yves bossed on midfield by himself. One thing I will say is I've heard today is Bissouma, apparently Ryan Mason has said Bissouma will play some part before the end of the season. So,
yay.
Yeah. Too little, too late. But you know what? Maybe he can come and play for his next club next season. Right. Prediction. Let's have a look at couple of predictions here. David Clark, Spurs 4, Palace 3, Kane 2, Perisic 1, Son 1, and I have just woke up after concussion. Yeah. Jews Nazi saying here, Spurs 2, the Eagles 1. What are you saying, Sam?
I'm torn between a 3-2 to Spurs and a 3-3.
You're going with a lot of draws, aren't you, the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, because I know we don't keep clean sheets, so I can't predict us winning the game 1-0. That can't happen.
Yeah.
But then I keep thinking we're at home against Palace team who should be on the beach, even though we're probably on the beach as well. But it's a funny old game, and it's a funny part of the season. I'm going to go with a 3-2 to Spurs. Harry Kane 2, Richarlison another 1.
Oh, lovely. Come on, guys. Who's going to be our next manager? Jews Nuts, Need a Song, Sid, Coldplay, Paradise. No, not today. I will give you my prediction, and you may like it, you may not like it, but I'm going to go on form, and the fact that Palace are on a roll, and I'm going to go with 2-1 to Palace because I think they've just hit form at the right time. I don't think, like you said, Sam, they're going to come out. They're already on holiday. I think they'll want to win this game tomorrow for pride. London derby as well. And I think 2-1. I think Eze and Olise and Jordan Ayew, between the three of them, are going to have the 2 goals. But that's my prediction.
If that was to happen and they were to win, that would be 4 losses and a draw in the last 5 games.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, what's this? Sid?
That's relegation form.
Yeah. I want the Chevy to the levy was dry. Eddie Ryan 2-1 to us. Okay, so there's people still a bit optimistic of Spurs getting a result. I've just lost my optimism now with these lot because they're like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get with this Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So let's see. You know what I mean? Maybe we can say bye, Miss American Pie. Put the levy to the Chevy and whatever. But yeah, you're not going to the game tomorrow, Sam.
No, and unfortunately, I probably won't be able to watch it tomorrow. So I'm going up to Sheffield to see our young friend Darius 3K.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, going up. He's invited us up. I'm going to go to his restaurant. So we might not see the game. But if I do, I'll be on. But as I said, it's been hard work. It's been too hard.
Unfortunately, I'm at the game tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, somebody is, because I managed to sell 3.
Okay.
I couldn't sell 1 more, so I've got 1 ticket pending, and people are trying to give tickets away, and people are not biting. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting. One final finger before we do. I mean, this thing that Daniel Levy put out today and Tottenham Hotspur Football Club put out about the final game of the season, where the women's game is going to be on straight after the men's game. It's a good idea, but what's he planning there? What is this? Is that so that the fans don't boo him, the fans don't run onto the pitch or do whatever? I don't know. It's a great idea, but I think it's too little, too late. Both teams are crap at the moment. Both teams, we've got managers. It's an interesting one.
So is it that if you've got a ticket for the last game of the season, you automatically just stay in the stadium to watch the game afterwards?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not sure how good an idea it is. Two things. It's a long day for one thing, depending on where you're traveling from. To watch two football matches back to back, that's hard work in itself.
Yeah.
We're not like we've got the league that we can parade around between the game and say, yay, and keep the fans entertained. It's a long day. The women's team are not really that great in the league as well. No. I don't get it. I don't get it personally. I don't get it.
And say, for example, it's sold out 60,000 Spurs fans, right? Say all 60,000 of them fans decide to stay for the double header, right? The women people who've got season tickets that have been buying tickets at Brisbane Road, how are they then going to get in? If 60,000 are decided that we're all going to stay and watch the women, what happens to them season ticket holders that already hold tickets from Brisbane Road? You know, I know somebody was saying to me today, oh, not everyone's going to stay. You can't guarantee that, can you?
Well, I'm not staying. I'll tell you that much. Even if I go to that last game, I'm not staying for that because it's a long trip.
Yeah,
I've got long journeys to go back, so I don't want to be doing that. But if you say it's a good idea if your club is doing well and you've got things to celebrate and we haven't got anything to look forward to. That game or the last game of the season is either going to be a battle against Leeds or just a nothing. Leeds are already safe. The women's are exactly the same position. They've got nothing to say again.
They've got a relegation battle against Reading. They have to win that game. So I think that's why they've done it. I think technically, or I think what he's done is he's thought, you know what, this is going to be a relegation battle for the ladies team. If we say the men's that game, all the fans can stay, they potentially can have 60,000 fans behind them to stop them getting relegation, to get the players spurred on, you know. And I think tactically that's what he's thinking, Daniel Levy, because he's a businessman. He's not stupid, you know what I mean? All you lot have to do, I'm not going, but what you lot have to do when you sit there is you got to go, should I stay or should I go? If I stay, there'll be trouble.
Now, what a question I would then ask is, as ticket holders, can you go to either game? Let's say you didn't go to the men's game. Could you just go to the women's game, even if you got a ticket for both?
I don't know.
You have to. These are the details I need to work out and let people know. Because if it was me, I wouldn't go to our game. I'd just go and watch the women's game because it would probably be more entertaining if they are going to be in a relegation battle. You know what I mean?
You know what I said?
Go and watch us?
Yeah, you know what I said? I said, wouldn't it be really, really, really funny? Yeah, if no one went to the men's game and 60,000 turned up to the women's game.
Exactly the point.
That would be wicked.
Do.
Yes.
That's exactly what people should do. Because that will show you there's no interest. I had interest all the way up to the point where, where Conte had his blowout. Just before that blowout, I still had hope, even games recently, that we'd still make top four. Obviously, the win of the league had gone. But now everything's gone. Everything is like, we're now being asked to buy our season tickets. We're now being asked to, think about, talk about our new manager, knowing that this is a circus. All this Nagelsmann business, all this, all these names that I'm hearing, told you who's coming into our team. David Clark, you'll like this one. It's Brendan Rodgers, my friend.
Spursy saying 2-2. Good evening, Spursy. David Clark is saying here, for Spurs ladies, it's a relegation survival game against Reading. The loser takes it all. Eddie Ryan, we will be the only club to lose 2 games in one day. Only can be Spurs. Ben Bilburn, will be a tough game for us. NS Sports TV, good evening, Mr. Chelsea. I won't want to be in your shoes at the moment, mate, but you know what? Let's see what happens.
Life is bad for us.
I know. Big up Sid and Sam. Big up to you as well, Mr. Sports TV. I hope we finish 8th. What else? Hey Spur TV, we don't deserve Europe. No, definitely not. You know what I mean? And if Europe was there now, they'd be saying it's the final countdown. But anyway, yeah, I agree with that one. Right. Ben Bilburn, Xavi in with company as the assistant. Do you know what? Are we going to do this on? Are we going to do a talking points on this Xavi Alonso Nagelsmann apparently. Oh, guess what? You'll be really shocked to know this, Sam. We've been in talks with Nagelsmann for the last 3 days. Did you know that? Anyway, are we going to do talking points, or shall we quickly, briefly talk on it now, or are we going to do talking points on the Xavier Alonso company?
I could probably do talking points because next Tuesday I'm off, so could do it Tuesday, even Monday potentially, depending. We could have a touch on it. Like I said, this is my own feelings now. Is all these things are smoke screens. I think they know who the next manager is at Spurs. I think they already know. They're either going to take the risk and appoint Ryan Mason, which I think is a big risk, and I don't think they'll do that. Brendan Rodgers, you don't have to pay him no money. He's there. He wanted to come to Spurs. He's got something to prove. I think he's probably the better of the two than him or Graham Potter, if you're going to ask me. Graham Potter, he don't have to work again. He's got so paid up from Chelsea. I think that's just going to take it all out of him. I don't think he's going to be the same manager. But for some reason, Brendan Rodgers seems to have a life cycle of 2 to 3 years and he drops off a cliff. I think he still wants to think that because I think he thinks he's better than he is. That's the problem with Brendan Rodgers. He thinks he's better than he is, so he thinks I can always do better next time. So we've got him coming up. Yeah,
I mean, we'll do it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but you're right. There's definitely smoke screens going on at the moment. Let's see what happens. But what I will say is, before you ask to renew my season ticket, please tell me if we're going to have a manager first, because I need to know who the manager is. Before Mikey's have already said, if it's Brendan Rodgers, don't renew the season tickets. They don't want to see no football under Brendan Rodgers. And I'm sure there's a lot of other Spurs fans out there not renewing the season tickets yet. They're still waiting for the announcement of a manager. But Daniel Levy wants all the money first before he says, oh, it's Brendan Rodgers. Because he knows if he says Brendan Rodgers now, people are going to say, well, you know what? Sack that for it, you know.
Let's look at the playbook. Remember the playbook for Conte. What happened with the Conte saga? We got teased. Conte's coming in. No. This other manager. Remember we did all them shows, and then we ended up with Nuno. Remember all that?
Yeah.
Smoke screens after smoke screens. We're in exactly the same situation now. Nagelsmann, company. They're talking about the Spalletti or there's other managers I'm hearing, you know, from Napoli and other places where they've done well. None of these managers are coming to Spurs because if you've got any sort of gravitas for your career, it's not going to work for you at Spurs because unless you are a manager that wants to just, or you're given the opportunity to project manage and just play who you want, the youngsters and all the rest, kind of like Poch. But I think we've got past that. We need to have European football. The pressure's on financially, so I can't see anybody that's going to just get an opportunity to do what they want. Brendan Rodgers is coming in. He's a company man. He'll do what he's asked. The company man.
Yeah, you know what? That's a topic for another day because I'm sure David Clark's not happy about that. But let's see. Final question from Sports TV, and I'm going to keep it simple, brief, mate. Yeah. Question for both of you: what would hurt more, Chelsea getting Poch or Arsenal winning the league? Not bothered about Poch. I'm not bothered, and at the end of the day, they're not winning the league. City are winning it. That's me.
Even if it was, no, it's a no-brainer. Don't want them lot winning the league. No chance.
Yes. Right. I'm not bothered, to be fair. If they win the league, they win it because they deserve to win it. But Poch, to me, goes to Chelsea. I'm not bothered. He can go to Arsenal. I'm not bothered. It is what it is. And if they win the league, which they're not going to win the league because City are going to, if they win tomorrow, they're 6 ahead of, or whatever they're ahead of them. So, no, sorry. Right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Sam, for joining us. Please make sure you smash that like button. All it takes a second, just smash it. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Whatever you're doing this weekend, whether you're going to the Coronation, whether you're watching Spurs win, lose or draw, whether you're watching City win the league tomorrow, hopefully. Have a great bank holiday weekend. Sam is pointing at something.
I'm trying to point at my thing. You know how people do that when they point across? I was trying to do that on my name, but I can't get the thing right.
That's right. Yeah, that's what it is. Have a lovely bank holiday weekend. Enjoy your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for some. We will see you for the reaction show. Have a great weekend. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.